Debating sports, talking about the craziness in the world, and just living life mostly. This is the show Commentary with your host, me, Terry J. Let's go. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining me on show number 1, numero uno. I'm Terry J. And just a little bit about myself. Born and raised Baton Rouge, Louisiana, graduated from LSU. Yes, go Tigers. As well as, I'm just a hometown boy for real. So I support the Pelicans, Stan Van Gundy and those boys, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram. We're headed in the right direction, finally. Happy about that. And last but not least, yes, I am a Saints fan. Just going to let that sit in for a while. Whew, still hurting, still in pain. But you know what? Let's use our frequent flyer miles right now and head over to Houston, because you know what? As much as I'm hurting as a Saints fan and wondering what the possibility of us not having Drew Brees as a quarterback for next season is going to be, can I start off by asking the question, what the hell is going on in Houston? First, you got James Harden in post-game interviews. Saying whatever he wants. He will say he wasn't disrespectful, but the fact of the matter is he got on an interview to the world and said, this team ain't good enough to win.
We're just not good enough. We don't obviously chemistry, talent wise, just everything. And it was clear, this situation is crazy. It's something that I don't think can be fixed. So
now I'm not going to disagree with him right there. And I can understand how John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins would disagree with that. But DeMarcus Cousins, on and off again basketball player when he's not injured. John Wall just coming back, and he's now playing in the West. I kind of agree. James Harden, he's been in the Western Conference to know the degree of difficulty and what it takes to beat LeBron James and the LA Lakers. But I digress. I didn't have the Rockets winning anything either. They were going to be competitive like most teams are going to be, but no, they weren't going to beat the Lakers, being honest. And to make things worse, once you finally do move James Harden and he becomes a member of the Brooklyn Nets, he doesn't just have a game.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
He has a franchise-setting game, making history for his first game with the Brooklyn Nets on Saturday night to become the first NBA player to record a 30-point triple-double in his debut with a team. Harden had 32 points, 14 assists, 12 rebounds, and the Nets beat the Orlando Magic 122-115. And honestly, if I'm Giannis, I'm probably cussing and screaming right now. Yes, he in the preseason, Giannis, he's like, he got Drew Holiday. That's cool. And Drew Holiday's my dude because, of course, he came from the Pelicans. I love Drew Holiday. Shout out to him. But to look at what Brooklyn did, I don't even think that the Bucks are even going to be the third best team in the East. They might not even be the third best team. And I know that sounds crazy to say, 2-time MVP on your team, and you're not even the third best team in the East. And you're like, well, give it to me. Honestly, I'm going to give you my top numbers right now. My power rankings would probably be the Nets at number 1, because when Kyrie does decide he wants to come back and play basketball, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I know you're going to be like, oh, Kyrie's going to mess things up. I don't think Kyrie's going to mess things up. I could be wrong. I could be eating my words later, but I think Kyrie is going to come back and he's going to mesh well with KD and James Harden, and they're going to wreak havoc. They're going to feast in the Eastern Conference. Then after that, I got to give respect to the Miami Heat. They went to the NBA Finals in the bubble. Like, fam, they are a pretty good team, and they are going to, I think, the level of disrespect of teams constantly and people constantly looking over the Miami Heat, they're going to make a bounce back and try to make a run for things as well. And then you have the Boston Celtics. I don't even know if the Bucks can beat the Boston Celtics in a multiple game series. I'm not even sure about that. So, and maybe they could, but again, that leads them to be the number 3 team in the East, possibly 4. You can't be happy if you're Giannis and you just signed a 5-year $200+ million contract and your team I don't know if they got too much better, if we're being honest. But what do I know? My crystal ball's been wrong before. Switching teams in Houston, though, Deshaun Watson is looking very disgruntled, very upset with the Houston Texans organization and how they're running things. And honestly, I just hope that the Houston Texans don't do Deshaun Watson what they did J.J. Watt, because J.J. Watt has been one hell of a player on the defensive end for many years, holding down the Houston Texans. And it seems like, oh, you got Deshaun Watson. You got a kid that's going to like tear up the NFL. And now Houston Texans acting like they don't know what to do with him. I mean, he's supposed to be your franchise quarterback. Why would you not consult him on a GM hire and your next head coaching decision? Why would you not consult the man that you're going to be paying a lot of money to lead your franchise for years to come? Instead, you piss him off, and now it looks like reports are saying he might have played his last snap in Houston. How depressing is that? If you are a Houston fan, you're probably okay with James Harden leaving. Matter of fact, you've already burned his jersey. You're like, good riddance, I'm done. You're like wiping your hands, bye. But Deshaun Watson, I know for a fact, stings. I know if you lose Deshaun Watson, you're going to be hurt. And there's plenty of teams in the NFL looking to be like, oh yeah, we will definitely take on Deshaun Watson. If he wants to leave, we got you, pig homie. We'll welcome you with open arms, and we'll have any conversations you want to have. Speaking of quarterback decisions in the NFL, let's talk about the 2021 and who could be coming back and for another season with a team, and who could possibly some vacancies. Tom Brady plans, even though he's playing right now in the playoffs, he plans on coming back for 2021. Who knows what Phillip Rivers and the Colts are going to do? He did sign a 1-year, $25 million deal in March of 2020, and that's at a minimum. So he will they will probably offer him something less than that to return for what will probably be his last year. Alex Smith, man, just God bless him for even being able to come back on the football field, because I don't know if I've went through a leg injury as severe as Alex Smith. If I plan on being in the NFL where there's 200, 300 pound men chasing me around the field, I don't know, man. As a matter of fact, I cringe. I get very queasy every time. And I don't know why whoever the video director is for the NFL games, why must you zoom in on Alex Smith's leg? And if you're wondering, if it's eluded your mind what Alex Smith's leg looks like, just Google it. Just type in Alex Smith leg. If you want a good cringe, be like, oh my God. They zoom in on his leg every time. But Smith is due to earn $18.75 million next season, and none of it's guaranteed. And he has made $71 million in 3 seasons so far with Washington. So, I mean, he's not bad off, $71 million. I mean, holla at your boy. I would love to get paid $71 million in 3 years. Moving along, free agency. Mitchell Trubisky with the Bears. If you're a Bears fan, do you want Mitchell Trubisky back? Serious question. I don't know. If you're a Bears fan, do you want Mitchell Trubisky back? Do you keep him on the team as a solid backup, just in case something happens to your number one, if you do bring in a number one? Or do you decide to ride it out with Mitchell Trubisky and see what he can actually do? And by actually do, I mean, give him another try with a different coach. Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers. Roethlisberger has a cap number in excess of $41 million if he stays, but if they let him go, $22.25 million. So the Steelers got some things to think about too. We got some franchises where you got some quarterbacks that's been there for a long time, or you got some old head quarterbacks that can help move a team in the right direction or help ease the pain of losing a quarterback while you look for your next quarterback. It's going to be interesting. And last but not least on this list, Drew Brees. It's too soon to talk about Drew Brees, man. I'm getting sad thinking about Drew Brees, but he might have played his last down in the Superdome, which would be depressing the way we went out, but it is what it is. Now, upcoming free agents for 2021, Patrick Mahomes. Well, he's not going anywhere, of course, but just to put him on his list, he is a free agent. Deshaun Watson, free agent for the 21 class. Dak Prescott, another person that if the Cowboys don't get it together, he might be putting on a different jersey as well. Cam Newton, he's going to be 29 years old, and yes, he's on that list. Andy Dalton. This list is very interesting. I already mentioned Mitchell Trubisky as well as Phillip Rivers and some Jacoby Brissett. Remember Jacoby Brissett? He could somebody could pick him up. I don't know. Especially when you look at the draft class of what's coming up next. I don't know. And some notables there. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, He's going to be a free agent, as well as Taysom Hill. He's another interesting person. You can't tell me that the Saints are going to put their future in Taysom Hill. I love me some Taysom Hill. As a Saints fan, I love me some Taysom Hill, but I love how we use Taysom Hill. To have Taysom Hill as the every down quarterback, I don't know about that. I need to be able to throw the ball. I don't want that situation that Baltimore has. And I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball, but he doesn't consistently throw it enough for me. That's all I'm saying. Other notable quarterbacks that's going to be up for free agency: Tyrod Taylor, AJ McCarron, Robert Griffin III, Colt McCoy. So, those are some names out there. Deshaun Kaiser. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Let's stay in the NFL, though, and talk about the NFL Divisional round, where emotions ran high, except for the LA Rams and the Packers game. The only person crying in that game was Aaron Donald, which I felt bad for him. I know he left it all out in the field, but there's going to be some questions there. Currently, though, they're saying they're going to evaluate Jared Goff and see if he's still that guy for the team. But, and you went against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. It is what it is. The Packers won 32-18. They're going to be moving on to face the Buccaneers, which we'll talk about that game. But also another great game that day that happened was, I can't even say it was a great game, but it was a great day for the Bills. Bills Mafia. Shout out to you guys, man. Another franchise headed in the right direction is the Bills. Josh Allen. If Josh Allen of this year shows up next year, you're going to have your quarterback for like some years to come. Shout out to the Bills. They're no longer like a losing franchise, and the Ravens definitely have their questions. I mean, think about it. You have a former MVP of the league, and there's still questions about whether he can consistently throw the ball or not. What do you do? What do you do? Because if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, like, he's going to bring you tickets. He's going to sell jerseys. But is he going to win you a championship? And I think that doesn't happen until he consistently throws. When he consistently throws, then, teams are going to be in trouble. But right now, you kind of just watch Lamar Jackson. He's going to run. At some point, he's going to break out and run. And when those legs can no longer move, he has to be able to depend on his arms. So that's the situation with the Ravens. They lost 17-3. Bills going to be moving on as well. And in Sunday's matchup, it was the Browns and Chiefs, in which Browns fans, you have nothing to be sad about. You have nothing to hang your hat on, because I'm not going to say, first of all, it's not you have nothing to hang your hats on. I'm just going to say you have nothing to be sad about. Browns, yes. Were you the underdogs to beat the Chiefs? I had the Chiefs beating you. I had them beating you by a lot, though, being honest. I think they were supposed to be beating you by double digits, but you show why you're the Browns. You're a new era of Browns football. I'm proud of you. Baker Mayfield definitely took a step up this year, and Jarvis Landry helped change the culture of the team. I mean, there's some swagger with this Cleveland Browns team. It's not the Cleveland Browns team of old. Like, this new era of Cleveland Browns is exciting. If you're a Browns fan, you got a lot to be proud of. Next year, I look for another advancement of this team. The Chiefs, though, I know there was a big sigh of, oh my God, watching Patrick Mahomes go down in the game with a concussion. Now, he did tweet after the game, so apparently he's doing well, because he hopped on Twitter and using the hashtag anything could happen. Chad Henne, 35-year-old quarterback, stepping in to replace Patrick Mahomes after he went out with a concussion, got the job done. And again, the Chiefs beat the Browns 22-17. But honestly, that Higgins fumble, got a lot of people upset. What's that helmet-to-helmet contact? Now, I feel if you're a football person, I need you to tell me, did Higgins make the mistake of trying to go for it all and ended up ultimately fumbling the ball and kind of costing them points? Or did the refs mess it up and what potentially was a helmet-to-helmet? I know many Browns fans will say that was a helmet-to-helmet. Other views, for those who are not close to the game, was it a helmet-to-helmet? I had to rewatch it many times, and from different angles. One angle, I saw helmet-to-helmet. Another angle, I was like, he led with the shoulder. I don't know. That call right there, though, that was 7 points on the board, because they definitely probably would have ran it in, and you probably could have had an upset with the Browns beating the Chiefs, but it didn't happen. So, the last game of Sunday was the Buccaneers and the Saints. And I knew going in that the Saints, as a Saints fan, I knew going in that it was going to be a tough game. I knew it was going to be a close game. I just ultimately thought that the Saints were going to win.
Stupid.
They did not, though. They did not. And I knew that when we had those big runs from Harris in the beginning and the Saints kicked field goals to back-to-back possessions, I said that was not enough. If you wanted to beat the Buccaneers, you needed to score touchdowns, because Tom Brady in the playoffs is different from Tom Brady in the regular season. And he just gets the job done. I don't care what people say. And, you know, another debate for another day. Who's better? Who would you rather have, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? That's a debate for another day. But Tom Brady in playoffs, he's that dude, right? So he got the job done. And also Jared Cook.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Man, Jared Cook, he totally killed the momentum. I'm not saying that, you know, Drew Brees didn't have his fair share of turnovers and interceptions, but damn it, man. When the Saints could have had a 2-touchdown lead, Jared Cook fumbles the ball, and all momentum is zapped. All the momentum is zapped, and you know, and you felt it. And then there was no recovery, and it's even harder to watch LSU players. Shout out to Leonard Fournette. Shout out to Devin White for doing their thing. LSU is well represented in the NFL, all over the league. The Browns, you practically, I don't know if we have like, if we get discount points for being in Cleveland. Like if you're from Louisiana, you should get like, I don't know, points on hotels and stuff just for visiting Cleveland, because Cleveland's organization is basically LSU. And then, of course, I mean, you got some key people for the Ravens. You got key people over there for the Bills. The Chiefs basically have, you know, they have LSU on their roster. LSU is well represented in the NFL. So if you're a college student thinking about where, you know, if you want to go to college and who you should play for, LSU is well represented in the NFL. I'm going to say that. But I digress. Has Brees played his last game in a Saints uniform? I don't know. I have my thoughts on what possibly could happen, but shout out to my family, though. Shout out to my family for not hitting me up after the game. My family knows, right? So what's funny is my girl, I love her to death. She's Puerto Rican, and she's into sports, right? She's into sports, but she's more into the MMA and the boxing. She loves MMA and boxing. And I think she might be spoiled to the fact that when she started paying attention to football a little bit, LSU was winning the national championship. We had Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, we were looking unstoppable. And you know, she was like, oh, baby team wins. Yeah, LSU was undefeated. And then, you know, this season when LSU happened, it was just rough. And so, of course, you know, I turned towards the Saints to make me feel better. And the Saints, man, you think you would be used to it by now. Like the Saints in the regular season, you're like, oh yeah, we good. This our year. And then you get to the playoffs and you're just like, what the hell? So last night, she's like, baby, what's going on? I'm like, I don't want to talk. I'm depressed. I'm sad. She's like, come on. Hey, there's nothing worse than as a fan, what type of fan are you? Are you the type of fan that, like, when you lose, you can just go and watch something else? You can go do something else and you're cool. I don't know what type of fan that is, but I am definitely not that. Although I'm not the total opposite end of the spectrum, where if I lose the game, I start destroying my TV and things of that nature. I'm not that end of the spectrum crazy either. But I think I'm somewhere. I'll be honest with you. If I could break something and it wasn't mine and I didn't have to replace it and pay for it, I probably would break something, because that's what I felt like last night. But actually not last night. Last night I just felt depressed because we just got beat. We beat ourselves and we got beat. We definitely should have beat the Buccaneers, but as a Saints fan, we got beat. And then on social media, everybody hitting me up talking trash. And it is what it is. I can take it because it's a part of sports. But you know, there's the last thing you want to be asked after taking a loss with your team is, what's wrong with you? And honestly, like, God bless her soul, man, because she wants to make me happy. She wants to start dancing. She wants to start playing music. I'm like, it's too soon. Too soon. Don't play no music. Turn it off. I want to sit in silence. I want to think about what we did wrong. I want to think about, where we could be going, how we could be ending on a Super Bowl ring. But instead, we're not. We're going to be at home, sitting next to everybody else who's talking trash about my team, who didn't even make it to the playoffs. She's smiling, she laughing, she dancing. My frustration's building up inside because I'm wondering, how can she be so happy? I feel like all my joy is gone. The life of a sports fan, man. Sports fan, yo. I want to, and actually hit me up at Terry J on air, TerryJonair. Share with me some of your depressing sports losses and the people around you who just didn't get it. And how did you handle it? Please hit me up. I bet you there's some funny stories out there. Another year, another playoff gone. It is what it is, though. We'll talk about the future of Drew Brees for another day. I'm not going to play the second line yet because he hasn't announced retirement, and I'm not going to do this yet. So that's how I'm going to end this. That's how I'm going to end this podcast. That's how I'm going to end this show on a very depressing note, because why? Another year of letdowns. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show, and follow me on my social media at Terry J on air, because the show is still growing, it's still evolving, and this is fun. This is just episode 1. This is just show number 1. Oh, man. Drew Brees, the Saints. If you're a Falcons fan, you're probably loving this. I'm sorry, though. We'll talk about you later. All right, y'all be blessed. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Beautiful week. Until the next episode, peace.